question. Okay, so court filings, in this particular court filing, it lists you among 13 specific witnesses for whom Virginia Giuffre was seeking all communications. There are no allegations against you, but why do you believe you were included on this list with people like Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, Amy Taylor, the Dubins, Jean-Luc Brunel, Bill Clinton, and yourself?
Objection. This calls for speculation. It's a partial document. The witness may answer if she can, but it's a list of names in a search term description.
I have no idea.
Did you know at any point that your communications were sought after in this lawsuit?
I know nothing about this.
So you were never made aware that your name was mentioned in this lawsuit?
This is the first time I'm seeing this.
No one's ever spoken to you about your name in a lawsuit?
Not that I recall.
Do you think
In
if
this
someone's...
lawsuit, excuse me.
Yes.
A lawsuit or this lawsuit?
This lawsuit.
Okay, sorry.
This lawsuit. So do you think your staff would tell you if you were named in a lawsuit? Would they brief you on it if you were being named in a public filing or in a lawsuit?
I don't know what this means. I have no idea.
Your communications were sought by Virginia Giuffre Roberts
Well,
in her suit against Ghislaine Maxwell.
No lawyers that I'm aware of ever contacted me.
No one ever told you?
No,
You're never made aware of that?
not that I recall.
Did you ever vet the wedding guests of your daughter's wedding? Did you know Ghislaine Maxwell was coming?
She came as Ted Waite's guest.
But you're a former First Lady, former Senator, former Secretary of State. You didn't vet individuals at events for your daughter.
This was filed when?
So it would have been 2024.
Yeah, well, the wedding was 2010.
I moved on to another question about the wedding, but I know that the chairman wants to ask some questions, so
He's got a few more, then I'll ask the last question.
Secretary Clinton, thank you again for being here today. I have one final question for you, and then I will turn it over to the chairman. Would you say that being associated with powerful or influential individuals would give someone credibility? And in this case, Mr. Epstein used that as credibility around the world.
I have no idea what he did or did not do.
Understood. Sure.
Madam Secretary, what, if you're following this, and I'm sure you are, in Britain with the arrest of Prince Andrew and the former ambassador to the British ambassador to the United States, they were arrested, it's my understanding, not for sex crimes, but for potential treason or potential violation of national security protocol. One of the things that a lot of people, and you may call it conspiracy theories or whatever, but I believe I've seen it on CNN, I've seen it on Fox, I've seen it in the Washington Post, the New York Times. There's a lot of speculation that he may have been an asset, and I know several questions have been asked about that today. And you've given a lot of advice for the committee on how we can move forward. And our objective is to get the transparency to the American people, to get the truth to the American people. And by the documents being released, the state documents that we subpoenaed, as well as the DOJ documents, we're already seeing many powerful men and women held accountable. So I feel like this investigation is moving in the right direction. But one of the things where we're stumped is how do we determine whether or not Epstein was a spy, whether or not Epstein was trading secrets, because he had people on the inside, especially in the Obama administration. We're not saying you, but Obama's former counsel that then went to Goldman Sachs. Where do we go in this investigation to try to determine whether or not he was an asset?
You know, Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate that question. And I can't say that about many of the questions, but I really do appreciate that question. And I think it's an absolutely essential question for you to try to examine and find answers for. And I think you said that you had either document requests or maybe even a subpoena to the CIA. I would also include the DNI. I would include, any counterintelligence or appropriate unit within the Justice Department. I think you have to cast a wide net. And now that, as you describe, the government in the UK is investigating both Andrew Mountbatten and Peter Mendelsohn, maybe they would cooperate with you in their investigation. And maybe, you could reach out to the intelligence agencies of other countries that you're looking at. Israel has been mentioned. Perhaps that is one to be. I don't think Iran is going to cooperate, but I think, or Russia, but I think you could, certainly go to the UK and go to Israel and see if they would be at all helpful to you.
In your experience as Secretary of State, and I know you were First Lady, but you were more active, in my opinion, than most First Ladies in the President Clinton's administration. Does he exhibit characteristics? Is there a pattern that would lead you and your expertise to believe that he was an asset?
Well, there certainly is in the files, and I do commend you for getting as much released as you can. I hope you can get it all released. Hints of relationships with powerful foreign leaders, pictures, emails, meetings. He was clearly somebody who traded off of information.
Exactly.
He liked to collect it and then he liked to use it. I don't know any more details than that. So he is certainly, I said earlier, the intelligence connections, the money connections, the crimes, those seem to me to be the three major elements of your investigation.
And obviously, as the last question before my questions, he wanted to make the appearance, at least, that he had friends in high places. And you've seen the emails that have been released, and I know you've testified today that you've never met Epstein, but he's implied to people that he was very close to the Clintons. He's implied that he was very close with Donald Trump. He's implied that he was close with a lot of people who, even Wexner denied that he was very close. I don't know how many of us believe that, but it's what he said under oath. And it's just amazing to me, and I think most Americans who are following this, how this guy could have Prince Andrew, a frequent visitor, have people from the Saudi royal family, people at the highest levels in several administrations. And that's why we brought you in. We're just trying to get answers. And again, I think that one of the big questions, and it looks like that's the direction Britain's going, is was he a spy? Was he committing treason in any country? So that's why we would welcome any advice if you have any thoughts after this or anything else.
Mr. Chairman, I want you to get to the bottom of this to the best of your ability. Mm-hmm. And, I'm more than happy to offer whatever insight I might have, as you say, about the framework of this, and also about any further actions to take on trafficking to strengthen our response.
And that's one more question. I think we've got 1 minute left, or 2 minutes left. So you obviously stated in your opening statement that you were involved with human trafficking and trying to prevent that. With what you've seen in the files, what Epstein was doing with those girls, recruiting other girls to come in, does that meet the legal definition of human trafficking, or is it more of prostitution? Because one of the things that we want to do at the end of this investigation, and I think Ms. Mace will play a big role in that, and Ms. Luna and Ms. Simon and all the members in both parties, hopefully, is trying to strengthen the human trafficking laws. And some people have suggested that, based on what they've seen, maybe some of that wouldn't have, the government could have prosecuted him on human trafficking because it didn't meet the definition. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I don't know all the specifics that you have at your disposal, but I've also read in some of the press that he was importing women from other countries. Mm-hmm. So I do think there's a distinction probably between what happened in the United States, but also what he was doing in other countries. So I think, but really, Mr. Chairman, you have to study this and analyze it and then advise your other colleagues in the Congress, your colleagues in the administration, about laws that need to be changed and strengthened and resources that should be directed. Because at the end of the day, girls and women were abused, whether they were abused through solicitation of prostitution
Agreed.
and the lies and the promises that were made to these, young women. And that in itself is just despicable. But then a system that, got close to customs agents, got close to local prosecutors. I mean, this man was a master manipulator, a con artist of the nth degree. And so anything you can do to try to understand the way he operated and how he really misled and duped so many people into thinking that, he was intelligent and he was, interesting and everything they say about him in their, in the emails that have come out. So that would be a great public service to try to really understand this and to break it down into the different categories that you're looking at.
Hopefully, we can do that in a bipartisan manner, I believe.
We'll go off the record. Thank you.
We can go back on the record. Ma'am, I just have one clarification. It was an email chain that I don't think was actually introduced as an exhibit, so I can't point you to it, but it related to Howard Lutnick and some kind of event at Cantor Fitzgerald. I just wanted to ask, our understanding of that email chain is that you were not on it. It was Lutnick to Groff to Epstein, and we don't believe that you were part of that email chain. Is that also your best understanding?
That is my best understanding.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to clarify or add to your testimony here today?
Well, I want to underscore how important it is to try to get answers to all of the questions that everybody has about what happened and who did what, and try to have some measure of both public awareness and accountability. So I've answered these questions to the best of my ability, and I, offered to the committee that if I can be helpful in any way, I would certainly be helpful, because I think that these issues are important ones and they need to be addressed.
And your answers today were to the best of your recollection, is that right?
That is correct.
All right. I think with that, unless you have anything else you'd like
Let
to
me
add?
ask my lawyers, anything that you think we should clarify or?
Okay, good. When do you think we will have a transcript?
We can go off the record.